Oh, Merry Christmas! We all love presents, don't we?
Yes.
Well, what is our presence? Opening our presence. According to Webster's, presence is an influence of a supernatural or divine spirit felt to be present. And when we talk about our presence, we are talking about that unique spark of God's love, that I am Christed presence that is within us. It is that supernatural, that divine spark. And when we are in touch with our presence and are connected with it, that love within our heart grows bigger and bigger. And our energy can physically be measured as being expanded. And you know, people walk by, you say, well, they have such a presence. You know, and we feel it. And we don't have to be right next to them. So when we're in that space of being in our presence, having our higher self be fully present within our body, we normally feel this mostly in meditation, don't we? When in that space there's no fear, there's no worry, there's no personality, there's just love, acceptance, and there's only the present right now. All of our attention is in the moment, and we have a heightened sense of being able to hear, to see, to sense, to touch, and to feel. And we're not really thinking in that moment. We're just receiving. It's a space of receptivity as we keep receiving that inflow of spirit, but we're not really thinking. We're just allowing everything to flow through us without attachment. And we become in that oneness, and there's that space of peace. And so we take this part of us out in the world to varying degrees, don't we? We do our morning meditation, we feel that energy, we feel our presence, we feel we're big and we're on our right and perfect place, and we've gotten information, and we know we've received something. We might not know what it was, but we know we feel the energy. And then we get in our cars and go out in traffic, and then our presence may start to diminish. Someone may be big, but it's not. Maybe we're not carrying that much divinity with us. And our personality and our ego might start to take over as we start in our work day and start to focus on matter. And we start to actually get ahead of ourselves. We start forcing our energy where we're not in the present anymore. We're thinking ahead. What do we need to do? What needs to be done? How am I going to do it? Who's talking to me? You know, we get in our world, and then our presence becomes small, and our personality starts to take over. But our goal is really to have and be in our presence at all times, isn't it? And that's what Jesus did. He walked one with God, one with divinity at all times. And so it's very challenging for us. But we all know what that feels like and yearn to have more of that with us, don't we? That song that we sang, Do You Hear What I Hear? I was looking at it yesterday, and I was struck by what it was really saying. You know, we sing songs over and over, and sometimes we don't even really know what we're saying. And so, in the beginning, do you hear what I hear? Said the night wind to the little lamb, do you see what I see? Way up in the sky, the little lamb, do you see what I see? We have the elements of earth communing with the innocence of nature. The little lamb. The elements of the night sky saying, do you see my vantage point? Then we have the little lamb talking to the shepherd boy. Said the little lamb to the shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? Ringing through the sky, shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? a song high above the trees with a voice as big as the seas. So we know that the lamb, all animals have extrasensory hearing. They're very, they hear greater than we can hear. And so we have nature now speaking to the human, to the innocence and wonder of the child, saying, can you hear what I hear? Can you see my vantage point? There's something going on here. And can you see what I see? Do you hear what I hear? And then we have the shepherd boy. Said the shepherd boy to the mighty king, do you know what I know? In your palace, warm mighty king, do you know what I know? A child shivers in the cold. Let us bring him silver and gold. So we have the child speaking to authority, saying, I'm out here and I know something's going on. What do you know in your warm palace inside there? Can you see my vantage point? And I know that you can provide that silver and gold. Because something's going on. So we have a child communicating with authority. And then we have the king. Said the king to the people everywhere, listen to what I say. Pray for peace, people everywhere. A child is sleeping in the night. He will bring us goodness and light. So we have the king saying, I have the vantage point. And I'm going to give you a new directive that's going to be good for the whole. So each aspect of the elements in the song are saying, this is what I see. Can you relate to this? Can you relate to this? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? What do we do? If we look at it a little deeper, we have the night wind and the lamb. We have nature speaking to us. The boy is our human nature, wanting to bring silver and gold, wanting to do something in matter. My focus now goes on matter. There's something going on. I must do something in matter and bring something. And the king is that Christ spirit within our heart, that is in that warm, safe palace within our heart, that does have the higher vantage point and can see and know what's going on. And that Christ's love gives us a new way of being, always will give us a new thing to do that's good for the whole. So in that we then gain a new vantage point. To me, the song was representing how present are we? Can we see? Can we hear? Do we know what's going on? When we're in that I am Christ's presence, we feel that connection and we're not attached to things. We just hear and know, and we get directives and guidance to do things that are different, that might not make sense to us, but we know that they're good for the whole. Have you looked at the song that way before? No. Did you notice that the night was speaking? The lambs were talking. So in this Christmas season, it's a time of joy and peace where the ethers are really fine, and it's really a time of love and support and joy and celebration. And we tend to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of going to parties, making things perfect for company, getting everything organized, putting up decorations, finding that perfect parking place at the mall, finding that perfect gift for everyone who's coming, for everyone that we love. But how present are we in those moments? Are we really aware of what's going on around us? Are we aware of what's going on with our family and our friends, our spouses, our significant others, and our relationships? And how is our energy, how is the degree that we are carrying our presence affecting the presence of another? I've been learning a lot about relationships this year, and I've listened to a webcast that came from a series that Deepak put together. It was called Art and Love series. And he talked about, he has his 3 A's and how to be in relationship. The 3 A's are attention, affection, and appreciation. And what he said was, it's about being totally present. Bring our attention is being totally present. He called it deep listening, where you are in not a hurry to respond, where you don't give advice, where you don't react, where you don't interrupt, where you have empathy, where you can see another's vantage point, and you express and show care and concern and deep connection with the person without speaking. There's nothing you need to do but to be present. And in that, we release our attachments of what we're feeling and seeing and thinking about how to respond at the time. So we really are just in the moment. And neuroscientists found that when we're stressed and we're talking, and if somebody is practicing deep listening, that the person who is stressed and talking, as the person talking to the person that's deep listening, is just being present, that their, I don't know if I can say this right, their amygdala, amygdala, amygdala. It's a little piece in our brain. Huh?
Amygdala.
Amygdala. Thank you, amygdala. Starts to slow down, and that amygdala is only about 1 inch in size of an almond, and it's very deep within the temporal lobes of our brain, and it's responsible for processing fear and anxiety. And it's part of the limbic system, which is involved in regulating our emotions, our motivations, especially those that have to do with survival. So they have to do with our fear and our anger, and also feelings such as pleasure and love. And what it was showing is that just by the act of being present, your presence slows down the amygdala, and it actually rewires the brain to start to move those feelings of fear and anxiety into love. Isn't that cool?
Say that again.
Okay. So by just being present when someone is speaking to you, just being that love, not attached to what they're saying, just being there when somebody is stressed and they're telling you what's going on and they're upset, just by you being present, a part of their brain that controls the fear and anxiety starts to slow down. It doesn't process, and it actually starts to rewire and produce the feelings of love. So just by being present, we are affecting each other. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? I thought it was cool. And so by the simple act of giving our attention without saying a word, starts to create a new space where something new can be created. Personally, I've found that very effective, and it's very it's freeing, and it's really powerful if both people are doing it. If you take turns, there becomes no misunderstanding, no emotional reaction, and then you find a solution to a problem. You find a new way of doing things, a new way of being. And we know that love is the greatest power in the universe, and love transmutes fear. But now scientists are showing us that, that love, how it works chemically in our brain to alter our reality. And in metaphysics, we teach the law of love, and the law of love is when you're going to send love to a situation to transmute the situation. But now we know we don't have to send love, we just have to be that love. Just by being that, we are transmuting the neurons in another's brain. Not to mention what it's doing in our body, too. And that amygdala controls our hormone secretion and also our memory. So there's a lot of things going on that our presence affects. Also from that series, I don't remember what, there was a lot of relationship experts doing the webcast. But somebody said that love is not a feeling. Love is being present for yourself and for another. And so what a blessing our presence is for the world when we can open up ourselves to our true nature and stand there in that love, that we are physically, mentally, emotionally changing the space in which we live and the space of another. So how do we do this? Well, I think it's pretty simple, because I think if we just start by asking. We get frustrated during the day and after we've been in those peaceful moments, and our higher self gets squeezed out of our body. We get caught up, and we could if we just remember to check in and ask throughout the day. I ask that my Christed nature be fully present within my body. I ask that I call all of myself into being. And if we can do that, we do that in the morning in our meditation, and then just remember to ask throughout the day when you start getting, when things don't start to go smoothly or you feel distracted, simply ask. Start by asking. Also, then start to pay attention and give our attention to others. Maybe stop multitasking when you're having conversations. A lot of us are on the phone, we have our cell phone, so we can go anywhere and talk on the phone and do anything while we're on the phone. So maybe if we have a conversation, we can just sit and speak and be there in the conversation instead of being on the computer and doing all the million things that we have to do, so that we bring our presence fully and attention for that moment. And then in that moment, something new can come out of that. And then just be. It's a busy time, and it's hard to just be. And so if we can take some moments to ask for our presence to be fully within us, to give our attention, and then just to be, that allows our energy to expand and affect ourselves and the ones around us. Even if we're, with our family, the kids are running in and out and you're busy, maybe this Christmas season we can just take some time and just be there when they're telling us about their day, instead of making dinner. Maybe just sit and listen. Okay, tell me about your day. What did you do? To just stop and allow your presence to be the gift for another. Friday night we had a wonderful communion service. The seminary students were coming in to be shown how to charge the bread and the water. And it was a very powerful, magical experience, and this was going to be the first time that I would perform that service. So Cindy had them all come in, and they all were aware of how serious and powerful this was. There was no personality or ego. that they were there to be channels of this immense energy. And we were in the back, and when it was complete, Cindy asked me if there was anything I needed for support for the service. And I looked up at each of them, and I almost was brought to tears because I saw their presence. I had 6 eyes staring at me, being there with this light coming from them. And it was just total love, yet they were each unique. I still felt their uniqueness of their presence. And I was brought to tears just by being in their presence. And I know in that moment that I had everything I needed, that their presence was the gift to me on this step of my journey in that moment that allowed me to do what I needed to do, to relax, to have my amygdala slow down, to move into a space from nervousness to love. And I thank you all for that. So would we like to feel our presence deeper? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's just go with that. Just take a nice deep breath. And just feel God's love coming over you. Feel that light just pouring through you. That God presence that is always there, always present. And just feel that energy moving into your heart. Feel your own I am Christed nature within your heart. And bring your attention fully to that energy. And just feel all the wonder and your uniqueness of who you are in that light. Feel the power that you have in that moment. Feel the peace. Feel the love you have for yourself and all mankind. And just breathe and be still. And just feel your connection with all of life. Feel how big your presence really is. Feel that presence emanating outside your physical body, all around you, behind you, beside you. Feel the connection with all of life, with each other, with your own purpose. Feel how important you really are for humanity. Nothing exists except this moment. And all is well. And just breathe. And in this space, you can see what I see. You can hear what I hear. You can know what I know. You can listen and be new. And just breathe. God, we thank you for the I am presence within each of us. We thank you for your love that surrounds us, is within us, that lifts us up. And we love you so much. And so it is. When you're ready, just gently open your eyes. And I want you to turn to somebody and look at them in the eyes. And just look at them. Do you feel good? I didn't hear a yes. Do you feel good? So your homework for this week is to ask for your I am Christ's presence to be fully within your body, to give your attention to your people in your world, and to just be the presence and be the gift this season. So it is.